Hello, English 1 students. I want to take a moment and go over our distance learning syllabus for English 1. Just so you know, this is what we call a living document, which means it can change as we learn more about how to effectively deliver instruction online. And as we learn more about how students learn best online, we will change things. And so be aware that this is not set in stone. This is just how we're starting out. So the first thing I want to go over is the course description with you. English 1 is a year-long freshman course that is required for graduation from Balagon High School. In other words, you have to pass English 1 in order to graduate high school. If you fail English 1, then you will need to set up a plan with your counselor for how to retake the class and pass it. In this course, what we're going to do is we're going to work with all of these sections of the communication arts, which include reading, writing, and discussing works from different genres of literature, like novel, short story, poetry, nonfiction, and drama. We'll be doing a lot of writing, and we'll be doing some oral assignments where you have to do presentations. We will do most of our presentations individually, although when we get back in the classroom, we are going to do we'll do some partner work and some group work as well. You will have to do units on speech, writing, vocabulary, and using the library. The purpose of all of the work we do in English 1 is to help you succeed both in school as well as when you get done with school, in the world out there. So we have some standards here in English 1 that we try to focus on. So we have 2 reading standards, which boil down to understanding what you read and being able to not just regurgitate or summarize what you read, but actually being able to read between the lines, understand what an author is trying to say that's not directly stated, and those kinds of things. For writing, we will focus on mostly organization and how to explain your thinking. For speaking and listening, we will look at different types of rhetoric. We will be able to identify points of view in speaking, and be able to use different platforms for speaking to a class or doing a presentation. We'll also do some grammar work. We'll work on some things like capitalization, punctuation, the subject and predicate of a sentence, and those kinds of things too. Make sure you're up on your grammar so that when you go off to English 2 next year, you know what you're doing. All right, so let's talk about some expectations. You are expected to be doing school, even though it is online right now and you're not coming into the building and sitting in a desk. You are still expected to be doing school. So we have 2 different types of schooling going on during this distance learning. We have what we call synchronous, that is when all of the students and the teacher are expected to be working at the same time. That's going to happen mostly through Zoom meetings. So you can see here for class Zoom meetings, 4th, 5th, and 6th period will be meeting on Monday and Thursday. And 1st, 2nd, and 3rd period will be meeting on Tuesday and Friday. And Wednesday we have all 6 periods. Now, asynchronous time is when you're supposed to be working independently. So this is a time when you have work to do for your classes, but you're not necessarily doing it at the same time as your peers. Now, the expectation is that on Mondays and Thursdays in the mornings, 1st, 2nd, and 3rd period will be working during asynchronous time. They'll be doing their independent work during that time and getting it turned in to Google Classroom. On Tuesdays and Fridays in the mornings, 4th, 5th, and 6th period should be working independently and getting work turned into Google Classroom. Okay. Let's go over some remote learning expectations really quick. Respect. This is going to be really important. We need, even though we're online, and I know that a lot of times we forget when we're online that we're not just, on social media with our friends, but we're not. We are still in school. And there's a level of respect that needs to go with school. So we're going to treat each other with respect. We're not going to use inappropriate or offensive or hurtful language, both verbally or visually. So that means I don't want to hear or see anything that is inappropriate or hurtful. We need to follow guidelines for muting the microphone. I expect you to have your Zoom meetings muted unless I call on you or you have something to add for the whole group. As far as turning off your video goes, for some students, if your internet is difficult, you may want to turn off your video so that it doesn't use as much bandwidth on your internet. It may make it easier for you to Zoom. There will be times I will ask you to turn on your video if I need to take attendance and things like that. But for the most part, that's up to you if you want your video on or off. But if I request that you turn it on for a moment, please do so. Then responsible. So, just like in the classroom, always present your own work, right? Don't take other people's work. That taking other people's work, other people's ideas is called plagiarism, and it's actually against the law. So let's just not do that. Only do your own work, present your own work. Okay? Please do not share your login information or your personal information with anybody else. Nobody else should be using your school Google account but you. Not your brothers and sisters, not your mom and dad, not your best friend. If somebody asks you for you to log into their Chromebook because they don't remember their password, you need to tell them they need to go email their teacher or the help desk and get their password. You need to not be giving that information out. You need to be posting your work, turning in your work in the correct place and on time. So for this class, it's going to be Google Classroom. Everything will be done in Google Classroom. If we are going to use a different platform, for example, Actively Learn or Newsy the links to those platforms will be in Google Classroom. You'll still go to Google Classroom to get the link. You click the link, you'll do the work, you'll go back to Google Classroom, and you'll click Turn In. Okay? So everything for this class is in Google Classroom. And please, the responsible thing to do, you guys, is seek out help when needed. That one I cannot stress enough. Part of learning is not knowing things. If everything we did you already knew and was easy, you're not learning anything. Learning can be frustrating because you don't already know it. So asking questions is how people learn. Smart people ask questions. Smart people get help when they need it. So that's what I need you to do. If you don't understand something, I need you to email me and let me know so that I can help you. All right, let's talk about being engaged. Please get to class on time. Zoom class meetings. Be prepared and get to class on time. Participate. Even though this is online, there's still a level of participation that needs to happen. So please be willing to participate. In Zoom, the chat function is not for you to have side conversations. The chat function is for you to ask questions or clarify for someone else what's going on in class. Okay? So let's keep the chat related to the lesson. It would really benefit you to have a workspace at home that has as few distractions as possible. So I know for some students, you can work in the kitchen and it's not a big deal, and that's a great place for you to sit and do your work. For another student, that's not. You might have younger siblings that are running around, or you might have cousins that come over during the day, and it's just not a good place to be. And so maybe the best place for you to be is working in your bedroom. But try to figure out a workspace that doesn't have distractions and is the best workspace for you to focus. All right, grading. Let's talk a little bit about grading here. So you can see here the way your grade will be calculated. Writing assignments will be 30% of your grade. Reading assignments will be 30% of your grade. Speaking and listening assignments will be 30% of your grade. Those are the three biggies because those are the three big categories of English language arts. Those are where our standards come from. And so we'll be dividing up that work into those three categories, and those are big. Now, sometimes I have students that they'll read, but they won't write. Writing is 30% of your grade. You've got to do both. And vice versa. I've got some students that won't do the reading assignments. And again, those three are the biggies. You've got to at least attempt them. And then daily work and participation is 10% of your grade. Daily work and participation is the stuff that, I'm doing with you. I'm giving you the examples to write down. So that's the easy stuff that all you have to do is basically regurgitate what I'm doing for you. And so that's only 10% of your grade because that daily work and participation, although valuable because it gives you practice, doesn't show your learning as well. So it's only 10% of your grade. The main digital platforms that we're going to use are Google Classroom and Zoom. So be prepared to have those be something that you are using daily, and you just get in the habit of going to Google Classroom every single day. Make sure your Zoom is working and set up. The district office has sent home an email to students and parents about how you need to set up Zoom because it will have to run through your school Google account now. So make sure that you set it up through your school Google account and you're ready to go. Wednesdays are going to be specific to making sure I'm going to try really hard not to give any new information on Wednesdays. Wednesdays, I want to be a day where really I can answer individual questions. If an assignment needs modification, if there's something that it doesn't make sense, that I can, on a one-on-one basis or small group basis, I can really modify and help students on those Wednesdays. So I'm hoping that Wednesdays will be a day for clarification and not new information. Again, I am waiting for directives from district office on what Wednesdays are going to look like. So I don't have a lot of information. That's one of the reasons this is a living document. This may change. So be aware. I will try to communicate any changes as clearly and quickly as I can. Other resources that we will be using in class, we will use almost all of the Google products. So docs, slides, sheets, those things. We have an online textbook. Our textbook is called Collections. So we'll be using stuff from our online textbook. We will be using Actively Learn. We will be using Newsela. We'll be using No Red Ink. That one is our grammar platform that we'll be using. We'll be using Padlet, Flipgrid, WeVideo, and occasionally things will get added to this list as our technology changes, as we find new resources that make learning easier, better, more creative. We'll add things to the list. So hopefully you've used at least a couple of these, but don't worry if you haven't, I will walk you through it. It'll be okay. So that is the digital learning syllabus for English 1, and I look forward to seeing you all. Talk to you soon. Bye.